Okay, let's make a video. I've been using a lot of patches to get my points across subliminally without lecturing people that I meet. You know, I did lecture a lady at the restaurant that I ate at the other day because she didn't get the fact that when you're ordering vegan, vegetarian, whatever you want to call it, I don't like these terms because I find that vegan means that you'll eat oils and basically cow pus for cheese. And these oils are always made by the Mafia. I don't know if you know that or not. But these Mafia oils that are supposed to be vegetable oils are heated way too high. And therefore they have acrylamides in them, which is probably one of the biggest reasons. It's not the biggest, but it's one of the biggest reasons why you've got type 2 diabetes or you've got some sort of one of their diseases, because this is one of the things that they use to poison you. Of course, this is my opinion. And certainly, you know, for educational purposes only. But that's what my experience is with oils. And I one day looked it up and I saw, oh my goodness, who is in charge of the oil distribution of the world? The Mafia. Well, gosh, I don't think I'd buy anything from them. Least whiles that I knew about. I certainly don't go to their educational institutions. I don't go to their, religious institutions. I don't go to their, military. I mean, I don't want them to help me in any way, shape, or form. In fact, that's sort of what the New World Order is about, that they're getting ready to form this year. See, they think they got this brilliant idea in their head because they're all cloned now, therefore they're all sort of retarded, because even the dead Anunnaki, okay, because after 5,000 years, you're going to die. Marduk's brother didn't waste any time dying. The one that they call Tammuz and associate with the moon, the sun. Yeah, he had a Anunnaki name. And it just escapes me at the moment. I keep so many of these things, in my head that every once in a while there's just not enough room for all of it. But, the one that Marduk was jealous of because he was going to marry Inanna, which would cause the both halves of the family to have a reason to celebrate now. Because now, the girl from Enlil and the boy from Enki were getting married, and it was to solve all the problems, like for the Hatfield and McCoys. But somebody wasn't going to stand for that, and his name is Marduk. So he's responsible for his own brother's death, and his brother basically sort of realized what kind of position he was in. I don't think he meant to kill himself, but he sort of fell off of a mountain because he's just getting the word from his sister, who has lured him into a sexual confrontation because she wants to carry his child. And now she's telling him she's working with his brother, Marduk, and she is going to ruin him, his reputation, and accuse him of rape. You see, not much has changed in all these years, has it? Still the same retarded shenanigans as from the beginning. Because the truth is the Anunnaki never were that smart. They were wise unto evil. That's different than being wise, okay? That's different than being smart, okay? This is where the Mafia figures that they're wise guys. You know, people like all the Mafia movies that we've seen where they're just basically, you know, Nephilim. Think about it. Mighty men of fame, you know, plugging each other over money because they're so brilliant. Same old stuff from the beginning, you see. And so their answer to deal with this is to be like, okay, so we gave you all this technology. We gave you this wonderful life we've given you. Yeah, right. And now we're just going to take it away because we want you to find out what it's like without us, because we believe that you will beg for us to return. That's their big plan. And somebody asked me the other day, they said, well, what is it that you mean by vacuum? What does that mean? Well, okay, so if you saw Julia Roberts and Michael and Barack Obama's movie, can't remember till the end of the earth or till the end, or I don't remember the name of it. I do remember that there was ominous music playing the whole movie, sort of an uneasy feeling. And then I see where on TikTok there's a guy who's literally put the tracks in a wave, you know, app, and there's like 4 tracks of music instead of 1, which is interesting. We heard that they were doing that with James Cameron's second movie about the aquatic cats. That people were going to the theater and having an ominous feeling because of the extra tracks that were being played in the songs, you know, in the movie. People were actually complaining about it. Some people were obsessed with the movie. But this is kind of the same thing. And by the way, just so you know, I said, you know what, I got to look up on TikTok and see if they have that. You know, Obama's, you know, slogan that he ran with, yes we can, yes we can, yes we can, third time's a charm, right? Magic. You understand what's being done? And when you play all that backwards, and you have all them people out there yelling back to him, same thing. You're getting it played back, masking backwards. And it's, thank you, Satan. And now they're starting to talk about Obama having proof that the reason that there's so much controversy with his birth certificate is because he's a clone. Now, many of you think clones are something that, you know, we're not quite there with it yet. You know, we're doing good just to clone Dolly. And then we see this clone movie, King Clone, on Netflix, and they're giving you some information about cloning some of the pets. But what you don't understand is that they've been cloning people. that you literally see with your own eyes because they're famous. And if they get a blemish on their face and they got to do a music award, their clone might have to go and do it for them. Now, the clones are never as smart as the original. That's one of the downfalls. And if you remember in our last video, Donald Marshall says that that's because the CAT scan that they use to scan the brain so that they can scan all the memories, that system is flawed. And that they have different types of clones, which we're going to cover in this video, where they literally will put a chip in the brain so that they can enhance the person. Because otherwise, you know, they're clearly not the same person. Now, the movie that I saw was the one about Brian Wilson, where Paul Dano, and I don't know if you know Paul Dano. He's been in a couple of good movies, though. Not many. He should be working a lot more because he's quite a character. And John Cusack both of them played Brian Williams, which was kind of strange because they're not that much difference in age. But anyway, it was very interesting. And the movie, can't remember the girl's name, Elizabeth. Oh, shoot. I can't remember her name. Real pretty blonde. You know, wants to be his girlfriend. But he's got Paul Giamatti, who's his handler. Think about Britney Spears for a minute. And this guy is an evil bastard that won't let his celebrity client do much. Well, he's a clone. Brian Wilson is dead. And this is a contracted individual playing the part of Brian Wilson, who maybe looks mostly like him, could pass for him, but isn't a perfect copy of him. Whom, you know, is kind of embarrassing in public. He's not able to function like a regular human being would be. Kind of like when I go to the grocery store and I notice that literally, I mean, it's amazing to me because it doesn't happen to me, so I don't quite understand it, but I can literally see people walking around in the grocery store that will get in your way and they will not get out of your way. They will, apparently they're not able to comprehend that you're standing in the right place and that you need to get around them. So they just continue to do what they're doing with no acknowledging you whatsoever. And I see this happen every time that I go into the grocery store. I'm like, clone, clone, clone. Because that's how they act. That's a perfect example of how they act. With one exception. They tend to be very mean when they act out. You know, like Britney, who is her father, you know, she puts on this game on her social media that she's abused and all of this stuff. But really, that's not Britney. That's her clone. Now, her clone has features of Britney. But if you watch the dancing that Britney Spears did, Britney Spears was a marvelous dancer, especially with her hands. And you watch this clone, and I mean, it's no comparison. There's none whatsoever. Anyway, I'm just telling you that because of, you know, that they might act out in public, they need someone to, you know, be with them. Sort of like, you know, a U.S. Marshal walking with Fauci. They got to have control of them because you don't know what they're going to do or say. They might bite somebody's finger off because they get ticked off. And they do have tempers that are much worse than the original person, according to Donald Marshall. We're going to get into some of that today. But I just, you know, wanted to do a little recap on what we talked about before. And then I'm going to go into my songs again, because I believe that there are many songs that they reveal these things to you. One of the songs I saw Britney was doing was an animated music video about her smashing up the cloning center that she goes to with Donald Marshall, where she has to have sex with all these old Freemasons. Maybe she's having sex with their clones. I don't know. But the bottom line is that, you know, for her to be famous, she was all for it. And then, you know, she realized this is every night at the cloning station. I mean, you know, give me a break. I got no time for nothing else. So anyway, you can look it up. She is literally online. You can look it up on Google, and they will tell you. You can ask, you know, Alexis, I don't recommend you do that, because once you do that, you're probably stuck with them listening to everything that you do. I don't do it. But I'm just saying that people, you know, asked Alexis, you know, when did Britney Spears die? And apparently she died in 2008. And if you look at the videos, you know, it's kind of like, you know, original Paul McCartney, and then it's faux Paul. You know, the Beatles like to call him Fall because it was, you know, Billy Campbell. People say, well, no, it's Billy Shears. No, it's Billy's here. Billy's here. But it's Bill Campbell. Bill Campbell is the person that became. Now, was Bill Campbell already set up as a McCartney doppelganger in another country as a McCartney clone? Very possible. Very possible. But now remember, he had to have lots of surgery. And he was actually hounded by the paparazzi when he was in Scotland, recovering from some of his plastic surgery. And he got really pissed. But he made a deal with them and was able to, you know, not be found out at that moment. Because, you know, this could have been something. I mean, I remember hearing it when I was very young, that Paul was dead. And then later in life, probably high school years, I saw all the clues on the Abbey Road album and whatnot. And then, you know, when they broke up and Paul went his way, I started to see them talking about him in a very derogatory way. Like there's no way he could be the original Paul, because Paul they loved. This guy they did not love. There was no love lost. In fact, you know, there's, you know, easily the two that are dead clearly were attacked. I'm talking about John was attacked clearly. And so was George. Now, George didn't die immediately from his wounds, but they say he got cancer and he died from complications with this cancer. But the bottom line is that if you see the movie Paul is Really Dead, they make a great case. The only thing that is a little bit strange about it is that part that has to do with Heather towards the end of the movie, where they associate her as the same person who Paul was in a car with when he, you know, had his wreck and died in 1966, November of 1966. And the only way that could happen is if that woman was given some sort of a thing to keep her mouth shut, where she was able to, transfer her consciousness from this person to this other person, Heather, and then, of course, to be with Paul. Maybe that was part of the deal. I don't really know, but I don't put nothing past these people. And you keep thinking that this is the elite that you're describing. But what you don't understand is that you've got two groups of people here. Now, clearly, through secret methods, they've made us understand. You read the first page of your Targum of Palestine and you find out about the sun and the moon's relationship. So it's easy to understand that you've got soul people, and then you've got them that have been diminished. Now, why would they have been diminished? Could they have been diminished because they no longer carry that soul power, that solar power with them? And therefore, they're a little cranky and they get downright mean sometimes, and they're willing to go and fight wars. They're willing to lie about medicine. They're willing to lie about spirituality and the Bible. They're willing to lie about, for example, is the earth round? And do we really have gravity that can apparently hold us down to a spinning ball? It's funny, when I used to get my baseball muddy, I'm pretty sure if there was gravity present, it would be present at that moment that I throw my ball and all the mud spins off of it. But the people in the grocery store can't figure that out, because you see, they are diminished. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm trying to make this easy for you, and some of you are probably related to those people, because it's like the so-called Jesus Christ character, which I believe is Ningashita sometimes, and then sometimes it's Marduk. Has said that your own enemy will be in your own family. Your enemy will be a part of your family. And I was listening to a Native American talking today on TikTok, and he was describing the demons and how they operate. He said the number one thing that they go after in non-demons. Do you understand? So the demons are not going to torture the demons. The demons are going to go after the non-demons. Do you get it? The number one thing that they go after is the family. They cause trouble for the family. This is what this Native American said. And clearly in my family, that was the first thing on the agenda. Let's cause trouble for Theo's family and his daughter, and let's traffic his daughter. Let's see if we can break him. Let's break him down. Let's make him into a little punk bitch. Because we can do that through manipulating his daughter. Now, clearly, we can't seem to get through to him any other way. But maybe we can do it through her. You see, all I'm going to say to you demon bastards about that is you wait till my day comes. You wait. Because when I got your ass, you are going to pay for everything you have ever done to anyone in my family, including the raping of my daughter, and all these RH positive children that has broken my family up. Now, I heard somebody online talking about how terrible I am to my family. Actually, I'm pretty good to my family. I do, a lot of funding while I can, because, when the New World Order comes in, the geniuses have decided that since when they got here, we didn't have nothing but fruit that we had to worry about and trees that we could live in. They're expecting us to revert back to that. So they are going to take away our food. They're going to take away our shelter. And they're going to make us live like chimpanzees again. Yeah. And gorillas. Whatever. Because they want to reduce us to being humble. That's really like the pot calling the kettle black, isn't it? Think about it. Instead of approaching us in a reasonably respectful way, they would rather, cause trouble every step of the way. You see how it works? They're gonna basically, it's like the fly in the pasture that just won't leave the horse alone. So thank goodness for that long tail, that long horsey tail, that every once in a while goes, got your ass, gotcha. And I mean, that's really, but I mean, it's never ending, because there's a new fly every, what, I don't know, 10 seconds. So I mean, it's just ridiculous. So that's what the geniuses have come up with. We're going to take away your food. We're going to take away your shelter. We're going to let you live like an animal. We're going to make you like Nebuchadnezzar, like Solomon, because we need to humble you. Pot calling the kettle black, right? Yeah. Yeah. Well, you go on with your plan, whatever your stupid, ridiculous, retarded plan is. And just remember, you have stated that at 0 point, when we all return up there, which I'm very doubtful about for you. I would never be able to understand a judge that would allow us to be together and be friends in between lives here. So don't expect me to be your friend in the next world. I'm not interested in that. It's not that I want to kill you. It's not that I want to harm you in any way. I just don't want to be where you are. And I'm pretty sure at 0 point I will have free will to implement that. Maybe not here, you freaking horsefly. But, if, I'm there, I'm going to expect that I don't have to see your dirty ass at all. And that would be okay with me. Now, that's taken into consideration all that you've done, all that you're doing right now, and the fact that I've asked you to cease and desist. and you have not. Now, had you ceased and desisted, we might have been able to work something out. But see, you didn't do that. You're not going to do that. You're going to try to humble me. That's your plan, because I need to be humbled. Yeah. So the vacuum is, you're going to back out of here with all your crap you're going to take with you. All your possessions. And hopefully all your people. And then according to Enlil talking to Admiral Byrd, he thinks that he's going to come back in when we've had enough of that and give us back our technology. That's what his plan is. Did you hear that? Did you hear it? Yeah. Here we go. Bird's Diary. I just love search engines. So, let's see. See if I can find this. Acrobatic finishing, no matches. All right. Well, I may have to go and find this myself, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be at the end. Okay. .373 pages. I'm not sure. This says Bird's Diary. But it's telling the story. Let's put in the word Dark Ages. Or Dark Age, or what. So it's not finding it, and I know it's in here. So I'm going to go to this other publication, and it's another 360, Dark Ages. Listen, if I'm not able to find it, okay, so it's not wanting to come up. I'm going to look at one other thing here. Yeah. Okay, so you'll have to do your own homework on that. But just know that Enlil, who's at the North Pole with all the Nazis in spaceships, not that much unlike the Nazis at Antarctica in spaceships. But, you know, Enlil tells Byrd that, you know, it's going to be like the Dark Ages. In other words, none of the trees or vegetation or flowers, or not even a flower, may make it through it because of the scorching of the earth. Now keep in mind, when they were scorching Hawaii, that was not the sun, people. That was not the sun that was scorching. See, this is a case of mistaken identity. Who is it that wants to be the moon and the gods? Marduk, right? Ra. Amun Ra. Say your prayers. Don't forget to say the name. Amen. Do you see what I mean? Anyway. The thing is that the sun is not a troublemaker on the earth. If anything, the sun is good. Solar. Get it? This is the hierarchy of the Rh negatives. And this is why your chimpanzees Now, some people will say, well, some of them have white skin. Well, they will have skins that vary in colors, but many of them are dark to kind of tannish. I'm not seeing no white chimpanzees or gorillas for that matter either. What I'm seeing is that when they're young, they tend to be a little lighter colored. When they're out in the sun more, they tend to get that protection from the melanin. So anyway, that's my story, and I believe it. And I've seen the back of a head of a chimpanzee skeleton. I've seen the bump. Okay? When I talk about vacuum, I'm talking about rapture. Talking about where all their people are bound and prepared for burning. Right. So a lot of people are going to disappear. Now they've got all kinds of TV shows and stories about how that's going to happen. But it's not biblical, first of all. There's a Scottish girl that dreamed about it, and the Presbyterian Church went with it. So it's just not true. But you know, you when you sign up for Christianity, just so you know, you're signing up to be raptured. You've signed up for it. So that's part of the script. So you better be sure you know what you want. Anyway, so I want to talk about these songs. So what is the deal between clones? Well, there's several different kinds of clones that we're going to try to discuss and talk about. But let's talk about one style that is going to be involved right here. This is Mr. Roboto. This is one of my favorite songs. I've condensed it a little bit and added some comments. But basically, here's how the song goes. It's going to say over and over and over and over and over. More than anything else it will say. It will say, secret, secret, I've got a secret. Now, let me ask you a question. Who does that sound like to you? Sounds like religion for one. But it also sounds like secret religion, like secret societies, like Freemasons and Jesuits. That word Jesuit is deceptive. Doesn't sound like Jesus, does it? But that's who it is. And their connection to their religion is called cataholic. Cats, get it? Cataholic. Canaanites, get it? Catwoman. One of my favorite movies at one point, I haven't seen it in years, Malcolm McDowell is always a freak. But Natasha Kinski is in it, and they play, the name of the movie is Cat People. But what I particularly like is the song that is the theme. Burning down the house with gasoline. Now, I want you to think about what Hidden Hand said about being a catalyst. That's what they think their role here is. In other words, they're the gasoline that's being poured on the fire. That's what they think they are. And they think that they have every right to do so because they showed up from over here or over there. There may be a couple of places that they came before here where they colonized the people and made slaves out of the people, just like the Agigi, just like they've tried to do to us before they got here. So they weren't just this hierarchy of retarded elites. They were also their people. that were working in the caves that they brought with them. Do you understand what I'm saying? So why wouldn't they do the same thing that they did for them? Here, let's give you the wonderful Homo sapien body like they gave Noah. He was perfect in his generation. Because though Noah probably had some ape man DNA in him, you know, Inky's Winky was hot on the trail of Lamech's wife, who was his, let's call her his domestic housekeeper. And even in the Sumerian text, it tells you that Lamech was kind of bothered about the way Noah looked when he came out. And he's like, well, he's not one of us, he's one of them. So he asks her if she has been with the Anunnaki that came with, you know, the Anunnaki that sometimes is called the Agigi. And he asked her point blank, or were you, doing, one of them? And she says no. And the storyline goes that he's like, I know better than to ask her directly if it was Enki. Because his whole world was built up where he was like one of the most powerful hybrid Anunnaki chimp men in the world. He was Enki's number one boy. Okay? And now he's going to ask his, kind of like, what's his name? King David's, Bathsheba's husband. He's like, I don't want to know what's going on here now. I figured it out, and that's all I needed to do was know what the truth was. I'm going to keep my mouth shut, and I'm going to go ahead and get all this riches that Enki's going to put on me. And it gets goes to Enoch and gets Enoch to lie to him. That's your son. Don't be making no trouble. That's your son. That's a similitude. That's symbolic. That is your son. And you're going to treat him that way. See, Enoch didn't want to have no part of going against the Anunnaki after they took him up to see Anu. You see? See how all this works? See, this is how deceived you are. And this is how wrapped up tight that they got your ass. They got you. And the only way you're going to get out of it is to literally say, I don't give a damn about your food. I don't give a damn about your shelter. But you're going to have to walk around and figure out what green thing you can eat. It's just that simple. So don't go thinking that's not what's coming, because you're going to be sorely disappointed. They will not let you eat their stinking GMO food. That's why all of it's GMO, because it's theirs. They're not going to let you have it, because they want you to feel the vacuum of them not protecting you, not feeding you, so that you have to say, you know what, devil? Like on the movie The Shift, up yours with a red hot Titan. And that's the way it's going to go down. That's their plan. And they're going to laugh at you and make a mockery out of you. Look, son. Look, Mr. Solar. Your people don't love you enough. They just don't love you. They love us. And that's why you have so many A and B RH positives. And that's taken quite a few years to accomplish. But that's where we are. You might have originally been A negative. You might have originally been B negative. You might have originally been AB negative. But not anymore. They got your ass. They got you. Apparently, long ago. And because they can't give you a soul, because they don't have a soul, all they can do is give you a copy of whoever is in your upline. Did they use to make you out of? They give you that. And more than likely, at some point, at some age, they show up and abduct you. Put the light in your mother's eye so that, the Men in Black stuff, so that she can't remember. And guess what? You don't have no memory. But they put a chip in your head, in your brain. And that's what's operating you. And that's that other voice that you're hearing. Because they're telling you what to do, and you better do it. And see, they already don't like it when we don't do what they tell us to do. Like Bernie Mac, man, they gave him a horrible death to show all them other clone dead head, chipped heads. You mess with us, this is what's going to happen. This is an all-out battle. You may not think so. You may not know that you're in an all-out battle, but you're in an all-out battle. I'm telling you right now, you are in an all-out battle. This is a battle for everything. They're not here for something. They're here for everything. They're going for it all. And that means all of you. Yep, that's the plan. Okay, so let's look. Secret, I got a secret. So it's, secret society, Jesuits, Freemasons. Says, you're wondering who I am, machine or mannequin. With parts made in Japan, I am the modern man. I got a secret I've been hiding under my skin. My heart is human. My blood is boiling, but my brain is IBM. Dead chip heads. That's what Donald Marshall called them. They're the dead ones that are recloned, and then they got to have a chip. So if you see me acting strangely, don't be surprised, if you bite somebody's finger off or, like Britney's, social media videos. Don't be surprised. I'm just a man who needed someone and somewhere to hide to keep me alive. Just keep me alive, somewhere to hide to keep me alive. I'm not a robot, listen, without emotions. So they can, AI, right? I'm not what you see. I've come to help you with your problems so we can be free. You're not helping nobody. You're forcing everybody. Because it's the only way you'd ever be able to do it, is to force poor, ignorant people. Or people that just want to take it from behind. That's all I can figure out. I've come to help you with your problems so we can be free. I'm not a hero. That's right. Though it says you're a mighty man of fame. I'm not the savior. You are a Zeus man, though. Forget about what you know. And I've written here Jesuits. I'm just a man whose circumstances went beyond his control. That's right. Because you're so wise, remember? Beyond your control. We all need control. I need control. We all need control. I am the modern man who hides behind a mask. Like Biden's mask. So no one else can see my true identity. Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto. Thank you very much. Mr. Roboto, for doing the jobs that nobody wants to. And thank you very much, Mr. Roboto, for helping me escape when I needed to. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I want to thank you. Please, thank you. Oh, there's their word. Y-E-A-H. That's inky. The problem's plain to see. Too much technology. Machines to save our lives. Machines dehumanize. Remember, that's what their big plan was. They were not going to, use the blended chimpanzee people. Okay? Their plan was not to use us as slaves, but to use technology as slaves. But see, they didn't do that because circumstances went beyond your control. Do you see? The time has come at last to throw away this mask. Now everyone can see my true identity. And he says, I'm Kilroy. I'm Kilroy. I'm Kilroy. And I've written in here, I'm a catalyst. Because that's their dream. They want to be the catalyst. They want to be the one that saves us through teaching us how to save ourselves from them. And in order to do that, they have to break us down mentally and make us humble. Because that's what cats do. If they can't make you humble, they'll kill you. Right? Anyway, so that's my first song. And then my all-time favorite, ever, and ever. The one that is so awesome that Prince remade it and changed the verse to backwards. Talk to them as if he is what they're talking about. I think it was genius. I hope to get those words sometime and show you, just what he did. It says, when you were here before, I couldn't look you in the eye. He says, when you were here before, you couldn't look me in the eye. He says, you're just like an angel. Your skin makes me cry. He says, I am an angel, and my skin does make you cry. You float like a feather in a beautiful world. I float like a feather in a beautiful world. I wish I was special. I wish you were special, he says. You're so effing special. But I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo. Yes, you are. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here because we know that white people, now granted, you're separated by blood. Some of you still can't understand my words. So I'm going to try to break it down for you. White people are the fungus among us, okay? We are the troublemakers that, if left controlled, we will cause all kinds of problems on the earth, kind of like yeast does in the human body. So whenever they're saying, what is it, uh, I have to think about that one. Let's skip that one for now. Says, I wish I was special, but I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here. I don't care if it hurts. I want to have control. That's them. You don't care if it hurts yourself. We can see that. But the part that's disturbing is you don't care who you hurt to get what you want. In fact, most of your jobs will reflect that fact about you. So if you want to know what kind of work a person does, that will tell you a lot about what their blood type is. For example, if you are the kind of person that lays up properties to charge rent like a landlord, and you're throwing people out during hard times, you probably an RH positive. And if you ain't, you're gonna be. Just remember that. I want a perfect body, and the Anunnaki can give you that. I want a perfect soul. Now, that's going to be a problem, because the Anunnaki cannot give you that. They had that at one point, and this explains, their O-negative start. But before this is over, they're not going to be able to do that for themselves if they don't straighten up. Now, some of you will say, well, you're judging them. Not any more than I'm judging anyone else. You have free will to make up your mind what you're going to do. And as unpleasant as a position is that they put upon you, we'll see if their O-negatives have to go through the same thing. Ultimately. Because remember now, that was the big argument between Cain and Abel. There is favoritism, and we see that in the world today. Clearly. No question about it. There is favoritism. Abel says there is not, and that's what got him killed. So you're so effing special. I wish I was special, but I'm a creep. I'm a weirdo. What the hell am I doing here? I don't belong here. She's running. She is running out the door. She run. She runs. Whatever makes you happy, whatever you want. Yeah, right. You're giving us choices. Yep. Tell you what, you go without food and you go without shelter, and then you come back and let us know. What you're hoping for is that we're gonna break down and say, oh, we're just gonna let you protect us. No, not me. That ain't gonna happen. So again, you're a creep, you're a weirdo, you don't belong here, you don't belong here. So that's the end of that. Now, let's look at this New World Order agenda. This is from Donald Marshall's first book. It's not the book I read to you out last time. It's actually another book that will call it full disclosure empowerment by virtue of golden truth, human cloning, specialty REM driven human cloning. And you can get the PDF online for free. I'll try to tell you where I got this. I have a place where most of my PDFs I can get for free. And it's this right here. It's the Internet Archive. And you just sign in and then you do a search, and there'll be one out of all them Donald Marshall books that are on Amazon. You can get one of them for free out of this site. And you just download it and boom, you've got it. Now, I did also find the one that I read to you out of last week. And that one, it was also free. So those are the only two free ones that I've been able to find. So, you know, you guys could help out and do your own homework and let me know, post on my video, you know, what you were able to find. This one is the one exposing the Illuminati's REM-driven human cloning subculture, Volume 2. So anyway, I took from this the New World Order agenda. So let's cover that. I covered it a little bit. It says the whole agenda is to create a one world government where everyone has an RFID chip implanted in them. See, no chip, no food. All the money is to be in those chips. A cashless world. This information came straight from Nick Rockefeller himself. That is what the ultimate plan of the global elite, banking industry, and Rockefeller wants to accomplish. The agenda is to implant everyone with RFID chips. And by the way, that's already in your like your insurance. You've already given them the right to put an RFID chip in you without your permission. And I would advise you, anything that you sign at a hospital or a doctor's office, I would advise. It's like those vaccines that they were given by giving you a, what was it, a thing in the nose, swab in the nose, which ended up being a vaccine, a shot. My brother was pissed, but what could he do? Because you don't read what you sign and you contract with them. So this is how they do it. See, they deceive you. See, and we're the easiest to deceive because we don't think like wise unto evil. So, we just don't have the ability to think retarded like that because, we know natural law in our heart and we, would depend on that. And we're just coming to the realization that it may be the universal law, but it's not the law they practice. You see what I mean? It says all money is transferred to those microchips. There is no more cash. Money will be in the microchips. Instead of having cash, you would have money in your microchips. But whenever they want, the elite could take whatever amount out of your microchip whenever they want to, because you see, they think they own you. Even though everything that they've done here is totally and completely illegal. So imagine the thrashing that they're going to get after this. Imagine. They're going to get one hell of a thrashing. And we've read it in books like, the Book of Enoch, if we can believe it. 70 some odd verses dropped on the floor when, they were translating the King James from Esdras. It's not in Israel, it's in Esdras, which has already been taken out because you wouldn't be able to identify the daughters without that. The daughters of the great whore, you see, that's how you're able to identify them. Because they're taking out the apocryphal books. Okay, it says, but whatever they want, they, the elite, could take whatever amount out of your microchip whenever they want to control. If you are a protester, this is me. See, I walk around everywhere I go. I don't talk to everybody unless they talk to me. Here's my patch. The world is flat. Speak truth, even if your voice shakes. See, I'm going to work. I'm walking around all day long with my message. You could say on my chest and on my sleeve. So now here's another one. I try to make them match a little bit. This one says right here, it says that if the government is the answer, it was a stupid question. So I saw where I could buy these. And put my own message. So I can't wait to, protest. Okay? And I'm going to do that. I'm going to say, I do not consent, I do not accept, and I do not understand. No, no, you're not going to hear me either. I don't give you that right to hear me. And by the way, who in this room has the right to use my, corporate name? Have I given any of you the right to do that? You see what I mean? Anyway, look at this. Everything you know is a lie. That's on my... So, and just saying, you're going to let them get away with it without saying anything? Now, of course, the RH positives are, because they're part of it. Who was running their mouth about the jibby jab? Have you had your vaccine yet? Oh, you got to get your vaccine. Oh, I can't be around you if you don't get your vaccine. We didn't forget who was running their mouths, people. We know you now. Okay? We figured out you were the RH positives. And there was always an RH negative, not knowing the wisdom of evil, standing around with their finger up their butt, that you were happy to go send to get their vaccine. Yeah. Yeah, we know who you are. We will see you in the court of the Most High. Not Anu. Not even close. Anu will be there defending himself. Yeah. So they want a one world government controlled by them. Everyone being chipped, all the money in those chips, and they control the chips, and they control the people, and you become a slave. We already get that. They already have said, well, if we say that they are slaves enough, they'll start to believe it. So that's what they do. They just keep saying, you're a slave, you're a slave, you're a slave, you're a slave. We're not slaves, people. It isn't legal in this universe. Do you understand? It's not legal to enslave somebody. Now, somebody can enslave themselves, And that's what they're counting on. So you better have your court case against them ready when you go to the big court. It's going to be a thrashing. I'm telling you right now, it's going to be the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. All the money in them chips and the control, and they control the chips and they control the people, and you are a slave. You become a serf to these people. Now, it won't be long before they'll be sticking it up your butt. You've already figured that out. Because look, so you got, you're going to be a serf, and they're going to put it up your butt because that's the God they worship, and that's how he behaves. He's a BF. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Clearly. Okay. That is their goal. That is their goal. That is their intentions. Russo, talking about Aaron Russo, did not believe in enslaving people, and Rockefeller would question him in the following manner. Why do you care about them? Why do you care about those people? What difference does it make to you? Take care of your own life. You see, we know you. We have learned to hear what your fruit is, and there's no fruit in it. So we can judge you by no fruit. Do the best you can for you and your family, but do the rest of the people, what do the rest of the people mean to you? They don't mean anything to you. They're just serfs. They're just people. Rockefeller asked, why are you fighting for the people? What is it all about? The people have to be ruled. The Constitution, what you are standing for, is only for a few people. It's only for a few individuals who can live that way. And we believe that it is best for society to be ruled by an elite people who control everything. Russo told Rockefeller he does not believe that. Russo believes God put me on this earth to be the best person I could be, and to put everyone on this earth to be the best that they can be, and not to be a slave and a sheep to you and these people, referring to the elite. And I do not understand why you want to control everything. See, I just want to have control. I don't care if it hurts. See what I mean? So what is the need for that? It was just a lack of caring from Rockefeller's part. And that is just not who Russo was. It was just sort of like cold, And Russo used to say to Rockefeller, what's the point of all this? You have all the money in the world you need. You have all the power you need. What is the point? What is the end goal? Rockefeller said. The end goal is to get everyone chipped, to control the whole society, to have the elite people, bankers, and government controlling the world. Well, fellas, you've screwed up this world in every way. You've proven to be terrible custodians. And I can tell you, you will be removed before this is over. And I'm pretty sure that your God that you're so willing to serve is going to throw you under the bus before this is over, and you're going to see. So America is a republic. I'm going to go on a little further. It says America is a constitution republic. It is supposed to be a constitution republic and not a democracy. The majority would not rule, and nor should the majority take over the inalienable rights of the minority. Well, who's the minority here? The RH negatives, right? The rightful people of this realm. This was our realm. You came here and squatted. And I might add that no trouble was here until you showed up. Oh, you'd like to convince the masses that this place was a terrible place, but we know it was a garden. It was a lovely Eden where the, hominids jostled with the gazelle and swam with the teeming fish. In Inky's own words, don't even try. Don't even try. Your Anunnaki parents are going to spank you so hard for what you've done here. We're not even going to have to lift a finger. You're going to get it from your own people, your own God. You're going to see that. Says the majority should not rule, nor should the majority take over the inalienable rights. Americans pledge allegiance to the flag and the republic for which it stands, not a democracy. Democracy is the worst form of government you can have because it is mob rule. Well, that ought to be enough to tell you right there. Mob rule, what does that ever get people? Olive oil that is chock full with acrylamides? You people can't even get your own oil right. Therefore, the government can tell you what to do because the majority wants it. See how they got us? All their people, 85%, if you count the O negatives, 94% of the population, 93 I think it is. Oh, see, this is what they're counting on. That they can take away our inalienable rights because they're a mob. This is what they're counting on. Why would they do that? Because they want to get rid of us because we are the rightful heirs. Yes. They go into the pit. Who is it? The false prophet, the beast, the Antichrist, they all go, the dragon, they all go into the pit with their people. That's what it says in the Bible. Depopulation. Now, how is that right? Let's see. Russo and Rockefeller discussed many things, and one of the things Rockefeller brought up in the conversation was reducing the world population. Rockefeller felt that there were too many people in the world. In a way, Russo agreed that there are too many people in the world, but he does not think he has the authority to say who dies and who lives. What do? They eat their tails, right? Serpent eats its tails. I'm just trying to tell you people, you better watch out. Because your hierarchy isn't that high on you either. If you will remember, you caused them a lot of trouble. You caused them to have to make decisions they did not want to make. I'm talking about you, Agigi. Okay? And then you caused them to be untruthful about what they did about it. Hence the song, Mr. Roboto, everybody needs control. I need control. Unfortunate circumstances beyond my control. Beyond my control. Russo also said it doesn't matter who you vote for, Republican or Democrat. They are all the same. Neither one of them is stopping the Federal Reserve or paying income taxes. You know, the truth is that it was a hostile takeover from the North. Why the North? Because that's where all you white people are from. The things that you did to black people, they'll be hell to pay when the chickens come home to roost on that alone. The elite Federal Reserve have taken over the American government. There is no difference between Republicans and Democrats. There is no difference between the two parties. Duality is manufactured. Do you understand? They're telling you right there. Donald has said Trump was at the cloning centers. Just be aware. The Federal Reserve, the central banks, both control both parties. It doesn't matter to the elite which one wins, because whoever is running for president will be someone they anoint. Understand? Trump is one of their men. Whoever runs for president will do whatever the elite want them to do. The fact of the matter happens to be that you cannot control an election unless you have enough money to win. They, the Federal Reserve, central banks, make sure who gets the money. Depopulation. Rockefeller discusses many things. One of the things that's brought up in the conversation was reducing the population. Reduced by half. Well, that leaves a few. That leaves still the Rh positives in the minority, doesn't it? I mean, in the majority, doesn't it? It certainly does. So here we go. Rockefeller even mentioned to Russo in conversation that they were having a real problem trying to solve the Israel-Palestine problem. And they were playing with the idea of bringing Israel to Arizona. Isn't that funny? That's where it was. That's where it was. Do you think it's over in the Middle East, but that's where it was. That's funny. That is funny. And taking everybody from Israel and giving everybody $1 million and setting up Israel in the state of Arizona. Because that is a problem that they are not in charge of. See, they can't even control that at that time. Think about this. Judah was Utah. There's enough information, people. You'll figure it out. I'm not doing everything. So Harp technology, and this is all I'm going to do when I'm done. So the Harp, high frequency active aurora. Now look at that word, aurora. Because if you see auroras popping in the sky, I'm not talking about over the northern lights, over the North Pole. I'm talking about outside your house. If you see the aurora popping outside your house, you better make sure that you got the right color of blue on so you don't get burned up in the fire. Yeah. So Aurora Research Program, HARP, is a radio. Think about this. Listen, we were talking about this yesterday. When Marconi fired up his radio tower at the Isle of Wight in southern Great Britain, literally within less than 24 hours, Victoria was dead. It's not the sun, people. It's radio waves. That's radio waves and lasers. That's what you got to be concerned about. Make sure you get your oh shoot, what is it? United Nations blue. Make sure you get that United Nations blue. Tommy Bahama umbrellas. They were playing with the idea of bringing Israel to Arizona. I got to move on. Is radio transmitting system that can bounce signals off the ionosphere, a region of the Earth's upper atmosphere, 60 km, that's 37 miles to 620 miles altitude, and back to the Earth to probe deep into the Earth or sea. Its proponents say the system could locate minerals or communicate with submarines. Harp can also disrupt human mental processes, knock out all global communication systems, manipulate global weather. Look at Texas. See, Texas wants to secede, so they get punished every time they start talking about it because they're going to protect their borders. Do you understand? So none of that is legal. That what they're doing with Harp, none of that is legal. And it isn't the United States government that is controlling this, it's the bankers. It's the crown, okay? Change weather patterns over large areas. We saw that all week this week. Interfere with wildlife migration patterns. You've seen them on TikTok circling, just circling. Weird. Hurt ecosystems. See, they're not out to do nothing green. That green energy is so that they can have tapped in to those solar panels and light up the downstairs. That's all that is. Negatively affect your health, moods, and mental states. Unnaturally impact the Earth's upper atmosphere. Weather control. It says the theoretical implication suggested by their work is that global weather control can be attained by the injection of relatively small signals into the Van Allen radiation belt around the Earth, something like a super transistor effect. Yes, the weather can be controlled using HARP technology. Just remember, if you see an aurora, you need to get the hell out. Okay? Make sure you get your blue hats, your blue coats, and all that. A series of weather disasters began in 1960, according to the CIA report mentioned in the editorial. But at the time, climatologists couldn't look ahead and see that droughts, floods, abnormal temperatures would continue beyond that decade, as if natural disasters weren't bad enough. All of these caused by HARP. The CIA reported that national governments were already able to manipulate the weather for military purposes using HARP technology. As far back as 1958, Chief White House Advisor on Weather Modification, Captain Howard T. Orville, said the U.S. Department of Defense was studying ways to manipulate the charges of the Earth and sky so to affect the weather by using an electronic beam to ionize or deionize the atmosphere over a given area. 1966, Associate Director of the Institute of Geophysics and Planetary Physics at the University of California, Los Angeles, was member of the President's Science Advisory Committee and later a member of the President's Council on Environment Quality. Gordon J.F. McDonald published papers on the use of environmental control technologies for military purposes. McDonald made a revealing comment. The key to geophysical warfare is the identification of environmental instabilities, to which addition of small of small amount of energy would release vastly greater amounts of energy. McDonald had a number of ideas for using the environment as a weapon system, and he contributed to what was, at the time, the dream of a futurist when he wrote his chapter, How to Wreck the Environment, for the book, Unless Peace Comes. He is not kidding around. In the text, McDonald describes the use of weather manipulation, climate modification, polar ice cap, melting, and destabilization, ozone depletion techniques, earthquake engineering, ocean wave control, and brain wave manipulation, utilizing the planet's energy fields. He also said that these types of weapons would be developed and used would be virtually undetectable by their victims. Now, we saw the lasers in Hawaii, so the cat is out of the bag. We actually saw them. So we know that they're lasers. And look, I've been hit with the directed microwave energy weapon, so you ain't going to fool me, no matter what you do. He was not some wire-haired fanatic when he made these observations in 1966. He had the credentials of the world-recognized science. What his futuristic concepts became are the things which projects like the Harp are made of. Now this is it, and I'm going to be done. It says, this is mind control. Radio frequency radiation acting as a carrier for extremely low frequencies. This is ELF, can be used to wirelessly entrain or adjust brain waves. See, this is what your cell phone's for and your 5G. Radio frequency radiation acting as a carrier for extremely low frequencies can be used. We are talking about very, very low power requirements. The trick for influencing brain activity is a combination of frequency, power level, and waveform. As Dr. Patrick Flanagan, one of America's most gifted inventors, noted in an interview, the Harp project could be not only the biggest ionospheric heater in the world, but also the biggest brain entrainment adjustment device ever conceived. According to Harp records, when the device is built to full power, it can send very low frequency and extremely low frequency waves using many waveforms at energy levels sufficient to affect mental states of the entire regional populations. I can't wait to see your own people are literally going to be spanking your ass so hard for the stupidity that you become. I don't see how we could ever recirculate you back into society. I just don't see it. It says the Harp transmitting system could be used unintentionally or intentionally to alter mental functions. If the Harp is tuned to the right frequency using just the right waveforms, mental disruption throughout a region could occur internationally. We know they use that in Iraq, or as a side effect of radio frequency transmissions, in other words, mind control. Now, the next section is RFID technology. And I just can't go any further, okay, guys? So that's going to do it with this video. But I will make plenty more. I'm basically going to put out there everything Donald Marshall ever said. Because in my opinion, he is one person that really knows what he's talking about. Thank you very much for your time and your attention, and I look forward to the next.